All right. I am joined today by none other than one half of the New Japan Strong Tag Team Champions, Royce Isaacs. How you doing, man?
Hey, I'm great, man. Thanks for hollering at me and having me on.
Yeah. So I want to start with what I found most interesting about your career. Tell me about
Okay.
winning a title off of a pair of chopsticks.
Um, I'm I'm glad this is the path we're going down, man. Um, yeah, so my time in DDT Pro was interesting for sure. Uh, People that may or may not be familiar with DDT that are listening, it's one of the best promotions in Japan, and they have a really interesting mixture of they have some comedy wrestling. They have like probably the craziest comedy wrestling in the world. But they also have some of the best wrestling, like best wrestlers there. Konosuke Takeshita came from there. And they have quite a few other really talented wrestlers that are there as well. Um, I was tagging with Dan Shokudino, and I'm not sure. I never got an explanation of where the idea came of for the Miracle Ass, but that was my gimmick over there for some of the comedy stuff was the miracle ass. I think it's because I mean honestly I'm aware that I have a big butt like in high school my
You're a
girlfriend at the
lineman.
time, yeah, I was an offensive lineman, and my girlfriend just looked for the lineman that had the biggest butt. Like she didn't even really know, like she didn't understand football, but she was like, oh yeah, there's Royce. So I guess that all I know is one day that was the idea, and I started running with it. And they were like, "Hey, I got sent a video. Hey, can you do this?" And it was a guy breaking chopsticks with his ass, and I was like, "Yeah, I think I could do that." And so I started doing that. I got practice with it, and we'd go around from town to town. Dino would cut a promo saying that I had the miracle ass. I would demonstrate. I would break the chopsticks, and then we would usually wrestle some kind of match where maybe I'd break someone's arm with my ass or whatever. And so everyone had seen all this chopstick breaking around town. We're DDT tours all over Japan, so I'd been around a little bit, and finally at Korakuen Hall they were going to have this big kind of like battle royal style for the heavy metalweight open championship, which is like the craziest championship with the craziest lineage. It's 24-hour defense rule. Multiple inanimate objects have held the title before. Multiple kids that are like in grade school held the championship before. Scott Hall has held the championship. It's like the wildest, like, oh wow, here's a legendary wrestler, here's a literal child kind of lineage. It's all over the place. And so the current champion, because of the 24-hour rule, who's a great Joshi wrestler, she was running all over the building trying to not get pinned, trying to not get caught, and hadn't slept in days. And eventually she ate some food, and like sometimes you eat some good hearty like curry, especially. I think she had like a katsu curry. You're gonna get the itis, you're gonna fall asleep. Fell asleep with the chopsticks on top of her, got counted one, two, three, and then you see kind of like I I come into the frame grabbing the chopsticks, and it was actually, I mean, it was kind of fun because everyone realized at that point what the deal was. And so like you heard an audible like, oh, like it was being broadcast from backstage as this is happening. Like everyone realized. So broke the chopsticks in half, killed it, never went back to its chopstick family, and became the Iron Man heavy metalweight open champion for a solid like 30 minutes or so until I lost it in that battle royal. But it was a pretty cool time. It was an honor to win that belt because I really did want to win that belt when I first started doing DDT, because of the crazy lineage and how wild it was. And it was like a pretty cool honor that like I got to come out at such a legendary venue as the champion was really cool. So that was probably like my highest moment with my tours of DDT from 2016 2017.
Is there anyone in DDT that you faced early on that you'd like another crack at? Because my mind goes to you faced Kazusada Higuchi in tag action. I feel like you two could tear it up today.
Yeah, yeah. We faced my first time out there in the DNA Grand Prix. I was really green, and I know he wasn't. He was really good back then, but he's definitely more skilled now. Um, I would love another crack at him. I would love another crack at Yuki Ueno because we wrestled at the DNA Grand Prix, and he was like full on young boy. Like I don't think he was he's in like short black trunks and short black boots, like not, he was like already really talented. Like you could tell he was a really good wrestler, but like, he was new and he was limited. So I'd love to get another crack at him because I think he's one of the top wrestlers in the world now. And I never got to wrestle Tetsuya Endo, but Endo's always I've been a fan of his, and I actually ran into him last time when I in like 2023 when I was in Japan. I ran into him at a Gold's Gym. And yeah, I'd like to get a crack at him sometime too.
You've competed at 9 Bloodsport events, as well as that Bloodsport match at the non-branded GCW event. What do you love about the format? I actually had Josh on for one of these interviews last year.
Oh, very cool. Yeah. To me, it has that kind of old school UWFI style that I think is really unique and interesting. And if you're into like, I think there's like a really good niche of fans that are growing now that are into it. It's I don't know, like I'm an MMA fan. I train in jiu-jitsu and grappling, and it's really cool to kind of have a little hybrid of all the styles come together. I think obviously, it's not for every wrestler because it is tough. It is a completely different style. It is something completely different that you have to get used to. And I think you see some people that come into the Bloodsport arena and really thrive and do well. And I think you see some people that maybe have a harder time kind of getting used to what Bloodsport style is and how to perform it correctly. But I I don't know. I took to it pretty naturally. I was a college wrestler, and like I say, I train and I've sparred and done all that kind of stuff. So for me, I don't know. It did just kind of. I think it just fit for whatever reason, and I it it's up there in terms of like my favorite kind of style of matches to do. I really wish it would be really cool to get back to like having some kind of a if there was like a big money someone behind Bloodsport where we could make it like a UWFI where like those guys were wrestling, they had a dojo going so that people could really train and get good at the style, and people were wrestling it, really often, multiple times a month and making good money and doing their thing. Because I do think there is a market. It might be a little bit smaller in the U.S., but I think for certain in Japan, it would probably just take some time to build. And I don't know there's anyone that's looking to blow a bunch of money on trying to make the new UWFI Bloodsport happen, but I can dream, and I would love for that to happen.
What's your favorite match you've had at Bloodsport?
Probably my match with Charlie Dempsey. Hard for me to choose one. But if I did, it would probably be a match with Charlie Dempsey. I thought that uh Charlie, he's a like grappler's grappler. Like he's really all about wrestling. He's all about grappling. So even though he was my adversary that night, like he is someone that I gained a lot of respect for. And I it was also like a really special night getting to wrestle against a WWE talent and having them trust me. And first and only still to go over a current WWE talent.
I
And
was
now
going
I've
to
done it
ask about
twice,
that.
which it feels pretty cool. So like I think that also kind of like definitely makes that a special match in my heart and my mind. But you know, props to Charlie. He brings it every time. Every single match he's had at Bloodsport, I think has been really good. But I think we really brought the best out of each other.
It's lovely. How were you first exposed to shoot style?
God. That's a great. Hey. The question's for me, not for you, buddy. Um, sorry, there's a dog outside going crazy, so my dog's also losing it.
All good.
I was like, hey, hey, um, enough. You're not answering the question. I don't know. I've been a fan of MMA for a long time. I've been watching MMA for years, and then I guess just at some point through my journey through watching Japanese wrestling, I probably caught some UWFI and was like, huh, this is a little different. Uh, at first, I probably thought it was more like early Pancrase because it honestly does look so similar. Like if you watch like UWFI and then early Pancrase, it it to the untrained eye, it's really actually like you can barely tell a difference or whatever. It takes, I feel like, a bit of time. But regardless, I probably didn't quite know what it was, other than I was just like, this is really cool and I like it. Um, but yeah, I don't know when or like how I got really like, oh yeah, like this is my thing.
Do you have any favorite wrestlers from UWFI?
Um, I mean, Takada's like the
Yeah.
best, you know. Like it's kind of hard to go with anyone else. I like watching Kakihara a lot too. Like I think he's pretty brutal, and fun. Um, You know, I wouldn't say they're like I really like respect their careers, but I wouldn't say oh like they're my favorite UWFI guys. But I watched a I think it was Tamura, Kiyoshi Tamura and Sakuraba had like a super banger there. I want to
Hmm.
say it was there. If it happened somewhere else and I'm wrong, the internet will figure that out and I will have to hand in my badge and my gun and forever be in shame of the shoot style. But I want to say that it was a UWFI match somewhere on YouTube, unless
Hmm.
it's been taken down or whatever. And it was like, damn, that was slick match. But like also those are two of the best at
Hmm.
that kind of style of all time. So it makes sense.
Yeah. Um, what did you learn from being a member of Team Filthy?
Now that being a little bit removed from that time and now that Tom has been dead and buried by me, I can look back on it a little more fondly because I do really think that I grew quite a bit during my time with Team Filthy. Tom was a really good mentor, was being a key word, but he was a really good mentor, and I learned a lot from him. And I got to do, I mean, the G1 tour in 2023 is probably, you know, the coolest, you know, tour of Japan I've been a part of. It went on for so long, and I literally got to see, every corner of the island and everything like that. So, um, some really, really cool, like unforgettable all-time experiences. And obviously there was some bitter stuff at the end there and whatnot, but I take the positive and learn the lessons and move forward, you know.
Yeah. What do you appreciate most about your tag partner, Jorel Nelson?
Oh man, my man Relly, he honestly, it's just the bullshitting that we do every day that has no like relevance to our careers or you know has no impact to anything wrestling wise or whatever. Like we're just kind of we fire off memes back and forth and talk shit about stuff and whether it's sports or whatever else, music, all that stuff. Like, I don't know. That's just my dude. That's my road dog. And like, I don't know. I hope years from now, when wherever we both end up, I think I'm a lifer with wrestling, anyways, in some capacity. But whether I'm doing something else for my like actual vocation or whatever, like that's my boy. I hope we're always locked in because yeah, like that's my dude. Honestly, it's like that it reminds me of that there was some it was like from a few years ago, it went viral. They asked some Boston College player, they're like, "What are you gonna miss the most about playing basketball?" And he's like, "Getting food." And it's like kind of a funny thing, but like as a former athlete, you know he's talking about like getting food with the boys and like hanging out.
Hmm.
Like he's not gonna have that anymore. And like that is like, Darrell's my boy, and I love bullshitting with him and talking shit to and with him. So yeah, that's my thing, man.
You stated before that when you're getting back into wrestling, a guy who was like your dude was Nick Nemeth, formerly known as Dolph Ziggler. So he
Hmm.
has competed at a blood sport and held a title in New Japan. What venue would you want to face him at?
I mean, it would definitely be an honor to face him at Bloodsport. Um, but I do think me personally, if I had the choice of one or the other, I would want him at New Japan and I want Shibata at Bloodsport because Shibata at Bloodsport's kind of like the big dream match that I've been gunning for. Um, but I would be happy. I would just be happy if I got to wrestle him in a match because yeah, he is one of the guys that kind of got me back into watching wrestling and enjoying all that. He's a yeah, I think he's one of the best wrestlers of like this, I guess, 2000, 2010s, 2020s generation kind of.
Hmm. So one of my favorite tag teams in the world currently is is Forever. You faced them last year as part of the DPW Tag Festival. Is that a matchup that interests you for a rematch? Because I really enjoyed the first match.
Oh, we actually, fuck,
Because you
we
did a bunch of
wrestled
six
them.
mans.
Yeah, we did a ton of six mans, and we wrestled them in California one time too. But yeah, I mean, I think, excuse me, about to cough. Between the coughs and the barks, this is hell on the audio listeners. I apologize. Yeah, I'm more professional usually than that. Yeah, I think the thing is, like, out of teams that are not signed to contracts, I think that us and them are clearly like the top two. Um, Obviously, we both had some success in some of the major promotions, including obviously currently right now, we're on a hell of a run with New Japan and whatnot. But I think as far as teams that are actually unsigned, I would say that like far and away, not to diss anyone else, but I think we're obviously the top two. And so no, I think there's history there and there's a story there, and yeah, I'll wrestle those two fuckers anytime.
What is the match you've had thus far, it could be singles or tag, that you're most proud of? It doesn't necessarily have to be the one you consider your best, but just the one you're most proud of.
Most proud of? That's a great question. Um, uh, yeah, probably my match with Simon Gotch, my second one that I did at Lucha Libre and Laughs in Denver. I want to say in like 2023, maybe. Yeah, I think it was in 2023. Um, I just thought it was it was a really like we just did what we wanted to do. Like we just like it wasn't a grappling heavy audience, but we went out there and we grappled like a motherfucker, and the crowd was there for it. And I take like pride in stuff like that, where maybe you're not just giving them some indie match that they're expecting and whatever, but like they understand what it is, and you're able to perform it well enough that they're like, oh hell yeah, we're here for it. Um, yeah, that's up there, and then probably on like a less wow, that was like an epic, awesome match. When I was like 2 years into wrestling, I wrestled Pat Tanaka, who's a legend in the sport. Um, the Oriental Express, one of like the best bumpers of all time, probably like a top 10 wrestling bumper of all time. Um, an absolute madman. I like Pat a lot. Uh, and like 2 minutes in, we're going, the crowd's hot, we're going, and then it's not funny, but it is. Uh, I hit him with like the softest knee, like not even to his rib. Like it was like kind of to his side and his rib immediately. Like I didn't know until later. I guess his ribs have been broken like 8 times. So Pat Tanaka's ribs break immediately. And I have like a dead Pat Tanaka in my arms, and I'm like, how are we gonna get through this? Like this is holy shit. And I keep going like he doesn't want to do anything. He doesn't want to move. Understandably, like I get it. Your
Hmm.
ribs are broken. And I keep like, hey, like ref, like what's in the? And he's like, won't do anything, but he's like grabbing onto my arm. He's like, don't end the fucking match. No, I can keep going. And I'm like, and we ended up going like a full 8 minutes or whatever we were supposed to do. And it wasn't good. I'll tell you that much. It wasn't a good match, but I am proud that we were able to get through that. And Pat was not mad at me actually. He was like totally he was totally cool after. And then he explained the whole, oh hey, my ribs just like, and I was like, oh, probably wouldn't have hit you in the midsection then, being as you're like a legend in the sport and like I'm a greenhorn and whatnot. But yeah, so we got like one good one and one like, well, I'm proud that I didn't kill a legend.
There you go. We all have to start somewhere.
Yeah,
You've said before that you want to wrestle until you're 50. What are
yes,
you
sir.
doing currently to try to make that a reality in terms of physically, mentally, etc.?
I will say, I take my recovery a lot more seriously now. Um, I know like that's such an obvious thing.
Hmm.
Uh, but when you are a professional athlete, like your body is your business, and it would be like not doing, body maintenance would be the same thing as like just not doing anything. Like if you're just uh, you run a restaurant and you're never cleaning anything up or whatever, you just cook, 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 and it's like, yeah, hey, there's gonna be a grease fire really soon, and also that's gross. Um, so I've just gotten really, really thorough with my rehab and recovery. Obviously, I'm a big lifter. I love lifting, but that's not really that new. I've been lifting since tomorrow. It'll be 21 years since I started lifting. So that part I have down pat. It's more like I have to sometimes slow myself down and be like, hey man, you said you were gonna go lift and do jujitsu tomorrow and do this other and go to wrestling practice. But like your body is about to fall apart. Listen to your knees, listen to your shoulders, take a day off, do the cold plunge, do the sauna, whatever else. Um, so I think that kind of stuff, mobility work and prehab and rehab have been a big part of it. I have a really good physical therapist that I found I think either last year or the year before, Josh Barnett hooked me up with them, and they've helped me out a lot in terms of literally in terms of there's been weeks where I'm like, yo, I can't walk and I have 3 matches this weekend. How can we, get me there? And also just showing me some mobility and prehab stuff that I've been able to use to keep myself upright because I have like every wrestler has back issues. I have some pretty serious back things that have popped up here and there. And then my knees give me a lot of trouble and my shoulders. Other than that, pretty normal aches and pains all over, but like not those are like my kind of my problem areas, I'd say. So I just have to be proactive and stay on it kind of thing. And then other than that, it's just staying busy and trying to keep striving for bigger and better because it's like I love the indies and I always want to be involved in the indies in some way, but I would like to get to a point where I don't have to do a bunch of indies in order to
Hmm.
like I can do the ones that I want to and I can take off when I'm beat up a little bit more and be on, a contract somewhere where I can have a little bit more security.
That makes perfect sense. Um, you mentioned before you were an offensive lineman. I played line in high school as a kid. Why do you think linemen are so damn good at wrestling once they cross over?
I do think like the kind of hand fighting element definitely helps. and having powerful hips, because that's a big part of being a lineman. I also think that I mean, everyone thinks of like an offensive lineman and they think like a meathead or whatever, but like offensive linemen are actually the smartest people on the field because they have to know what every single person is doing on every play. It's not just like, yeah, if you're a receiver, you know, okay, this is the route I run, and maybe you know this is the route the other guys are running or whatever. And hey, if we blow that, if we break this, someone should be here to block for me. But that's about it. If you're an offensive lineman, you know where all the receivers going, you know what the quarterback's doing, you know what the running backs are doing, you have to know what everyone's doing. So I think it does give you a little bit of that. You're both athletic, but you also have to be a little bit cerebral and able to kind of download information and figure out, what's going on. And I think that kind of stuff helps a lot with wrestling.
My other theory is that you get they get the least attention, and then you put them in a wrestling ring, and they're ready to go.
Yeah. No kid. Yeah, that's actually probably also a good call. Yeah.
Tell me about Mitzvah Mania.
Yeah, man. Mitzvah Mania has been really cool. We've been able to there's a good Jewish community in wrestling, and Jeremy Fine from Second Wrestling has managed to create a pretty cool thing going on. And I think I've wrestled at every Mitzvah Mania show. I might be the only one, or one of the very few at least. But they put on shows in, like temples. The first one was Mania 2023, I want to say, and we just had one a couple months ago out here in LA, actually. Um, I have one coming up uh, in April. I'm not sure if I don't think it's announced yet, so I don't want to, but it'll be in April in somewhere in the United States. It'll be a thing that'll happen. 'Cause I do have a flight ticket already for it. But yeah, Mania is really cool, and it's cool to kind of have the Jewish wrestling community come out because there is actually a pretty sizable Jewish wrestling community.
I'm one of them, so that's why
Oh,
I
hell yeah.
asked. Yeah. What is a wrestler more people should take inspiration from, in your opinion?
Wow, sorry, excuse me. That's what people should get more inspiration from. I don't know, like someone like Hiroshi Hase, like someone like
I
that
love
who's like,
Hase.
yeah, he's like phenomenal in the ring, and he just like does this thing, and he's just really good at it. And I don't, I think a lot of people could like take a lesson from like he just, damn, he worked his ass off and was just really, really good. And I don't know, you don't see it like, I mean, obviously you didn't have social media back then, but I did. There's nothing like, it's not like just like whining about how you should have like a better spot in the wrestling industry and why doesn't the wrestling industry own this and that. What it's like he was just like he was worked his ass off. He was a great wrestler. He's one of the top wrestlers of his time, and he let his work speak for itself. And someone like that, I feel like doesn't get enough flowers because people will just think of like the big names that came out of that time, and I get it. Um, you know, but I think someone like that, like Will Ospreay is the best wrestler in the world to me. I think he's absolutely out of his mind, like good. I can't say enough positive things about him talent wise. However, everyone just kind of trying to be like miniature clone versions of him on the indies is really bad because you just get more and more watered down versions of it. I think more people should take some kind of inspiration from people that are a little bit more like you're never going to stand out being a copy of a copy of a copy
Hmm.
of Will Ospreay. However, if you can take a little from here, a little from there, uh, and focus on people that aren't being cloned right now, and you pretty soon before you know it, you'll find your own kind of thing. Like there's a lot of uh, inspirations I had early on in my career that I took a little from here, a little from there, and then slowly I kind of molded it into my own thing. And before you know it, I think I'm, you know, not that I'm the most unique wrestler. I haven't reinvented the wheel, but I do think I'm fairly unique and I do my own thing. And if you watch a Royce Isaacs match, it's not going to be like the seven other matches on the card that you're seeing anywhere else. And I think that's important, both for you as a wrestler, if you want to stand out from others, but also for the crowd because they get really bored seeing the same thing. And you have to, yeah, I don't know. I'm just turning into the old man yelling at the kids on the grass now, but I do think stuff like that is important. Like take inspiration from someone that's a little bit off the beaten path and not just like, oh, well, this is the cool thing right now, so this is what I'm gonna do.
If you could grow the Hase mullet, would you rock it?
Yeah, yeah, why not?
You've said before that wrestling is therapeutic for you. Why is that?
Uh, because I'm a meathead that my therapy is wrestling and lifting weights, and my girlfriend rolls her eyes whenever I say stuff like that. But I don't, I don't know how to go to a therapist and talk to him about my problems and my deep emotional. I don't know how to expound on all that and tell someone any of that. So instead, I go out there and I wrestle, and I get to have interactions with fans, and I get to fight with another wrestler, and by the end of it, my brain is a little more even keeled and I'm sane again. So uh yeah, I'm not sure exactly how it works. I just know that at the end of a good wrestling match, I'm a little easier to deal with and a little less of a pill.
As a final question here, where do you see yourself individually as well as West Coast Wrecking Crew going in 2025?
Well, I do have to say, World Class Wrecking Crew, we did just change the name recently. Um, where do I see myself in 2025? I think as a unit, we're going to finally go back to Japan. I think it's been long overdue. Uh, there's only so long they can keep us out of tag league. The people want it, and I want it really bad too. We're going on a run here with these strong belts. My goal for them is the most defenses anyone's had. I want to say is five. So obviously we want to hold them to forever, but we want to break that record for certain.
Hmm.
Um, because we want to show that there's been some amazing teams that have held those belts. We want to be the best that have held those belts ever. And I do think we have the potential to do that, and that's certainly the goal. Um, as far as me as a singles wrestler, I just want to do more. I like 2024. I got to do some of the coolest shit that I've done in my career. Like wrestling Josh Alexander was amazing, especially now it seems like I got in right at the right
Hmm.
time, right before now he's not going to be able to do that kind of stuff. Same with Alex Shelley, who's one of my kind of mentors and heroes in the business. Um, so if I can kind of keep that momentum going, get some more really cool matchups like that, I want to do some more stuff singles, obviously, some more blood sport stuff. I want to work my ass off. I want to get on that September UK blood sport. And hopefully when I'm out there, I can do some more Rev Pro or something like that. Because I do want to spend more time in the UK. I really actually enjoy. I know there's a lot of like jokes on Twitter about UK cuisine. I personally think it's really good. Um, I definitely want to spend some more time out there. I spent a little bit of time out there because my girlfriend's Welsh. I spent like a week out there, Christmas 2023, and then I spent like long weekends out there doing Rev Pro and whatnot in 2024. But I want to spend a little bit more time and have a little time to like roam around and explore and have fun and have some adventures over there. So I want to do some more international stuff. Japan and the UK, I would say, are the two main goals for this year. Um, as far as international goes, and I don't know. I want to sign a contract. I want to feel a little bit of security and maybe get a place that has a yard attached for this guy, get out of an apartment or something. What do you
What
think
is
about
his
that,
name?
Bubs? Gimlet. This is Gimlet. It was his birthday yesterday. So he's 11 years old, but he acts like he's a puppy still. And it's my birthday tomorrow, so we got a little Aquarius household.
Well, happy early birthday, my friend.
Appreciate it, brother.
All right. Do you have any shows you want to plug that are upcoming?
Um, you know, uh, I don't know when this will come out, so I'll probably just plug some March stuff to be safe.
In the next couple days,
Um,
probably.
oh wow, okay, you're quick.
Yeah.
Um, My February is a little bit light. I only got a few shows coming up for the rest of the month. But check me out on my YouTube page. I have some matches posted. I always have stuff on like Triller and IWTV if you have those apps. I think if you're a fan and you want to watch Royce Isaacs, the the cool kind of eclectic thing about me is you can either watch me in a tag team with Nelson, world class wrecking crew, but we were known as West Coast Wrecking Crew previously because we're trying to confuse people as much as possible. Um, so if you like tag wrestling, you got that. You got my singles career, and then I think Bloodsport is such a different kind of style, even though I do bring a mat technician grappling heavy style at times to my singles stuff. It's such a different thing and different style. So I kind of have like three different careers going at once, which is pretty cool. So um yeah, I don't know. Check me out if any of that sounds good to you, or if you don't want to check it out. I don't know why you're still listening to this. You just listen to me drone and ramble and say the dumbest shit imaginable. Um, but thank you for your time. And I do hope if you're actually interested in any of that to check me out.
And thank you for your time.
Hey, I appreciate you, Will. This was a breeze other than me coughing and rambling.
All right.